Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
We are happy to welcome back His Grace Sankarshan Prabhu, who will speak today and Friday on sincerity.
Yes, sincerity is the essence of Krishna consciousness. Without sincerity, we're actually nowhere. Sincerity is what powers one to get initiated and never deviate from one's initiation vows. Those who deviate, they were deficient in sincerity. When you give your promise to the spiritual master, if you're sincere, you'll never deviate. And if you do deviate, that shows your lack of genuineness, sincerity. See, the opposite of sincerity is duplicity. Duplicitousness is the constitutional position of a conditioned soul. Sincerity is the constitutional position of a liberated soul. So, if you want to be a liberated soul or a conditioned soul, it's up to you. If you practice sincerity, then you can be a liberated soul right now. You see, you don't have to wait. Just be totally sincere, and you can be a liberated soul immediately. So we're encouraging everyone, please come to sincerity. Prabhupada had a nice conversation about it. One time he said, spiritual strength means sincerity, and sincerity means spiritual strength. I promise before the fire, before the deity, before my spiritual master, I shall observe the rules and regulations. If I don't follow, then where is my sincerity? We see many I've been in movement for half a why all this background noise? I've been in movement for half a century now. I've seen so many people who didn't really have the sincerity required to remain steady in devotional service decade after decade after decade after decade. So if you actually want to get out of this material existence, you actually want to regain your original transcendental identity in the pastimes of Krishna in the spiritual sky, you need to be insincere, that's all. And to be sincere. Krishna gives us very nice instructions in this regard. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, text 11. Tesham evanukam partam aham jnanajantamah nasayami atmabhavasto jnanadipena bhasvataha. To show them special mercy, I, dwelling in their hearts, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. This is the reward for sincerity. Krishna knows your sincerity or your lack of sincerity. Krishna immediately knows. You may fool others, but you never fool Krishna. Krishna knows exactly where you're at, how sincere you are, how insincere you are, what is your balance of sincerity and insincerity, you see. Actually, if there's even a slight tinge of insincerity within our hearts, then our sincerity is not pure, you see. So we need to weed out all the insincerity. Actually, Prabhupada personally told me, he said, now you disqualify yourself to see Krishna face to face, you see. It's like Ramaji has very nicely stated, Premam jani chodita bhakti velochanena santaksadai hridayeshu velokayanti yang shama shunya ramachanya ganas varupam govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. I worship Govinda, the Prime of the Lord, who is Shama Sundar, Krishna himself with inconceivable and innumerable attributes, whom the pure devotees see in their heart of hearts with the eye of devotion tinged with the salve of love. So how does one actually become qualified to see Krishna face to face? That requires perfect sincerity, without even a tinge of insincerity. So why we're not able to see Krishna now face to face? Because we're still being tinged by that cheating mentality, that insincerity of trying to enjoy separately from Krishna. You see, that's a difficulty. We are still, after hearing so many instructions, we're still trying to enjoy separately from Krishna. That is our insincerity. And that's why we're not able to see Krishna directly, face to face, eye to eye. You see? That's why we're still suffering in so many ways, misidentifying with the body, with the mind. You see? There's so many sufferings in this material world, and by our insincerity, we continue to punish ourselves, actually. Hanging on our insincerity is a very foolish thing. Prabhupada talks it further in the purport about this tonight's verse. He says, when Lord Chaitanya was in Benares, promulgating the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thousands of people were following him. Pakashananda Saraswati, a very influential and learned scholar in Benares at that time, derided Lord Chaitanya for being a sentimentalist. Sometimes Mayavadi philosophers criticize the devotees because they think that most of the devotees are in the darkness of ignorance and are philosophically naive sentimentalists. Actually, that is not the fact. There are very, very learned scholars who have put forward the philosophy of devotion, that even if a devotee does not take advantage of their literatures or of his spiritual master, if he is sincere in his devotional service, he is helped by Krishna himself within his heart. Again, Prabhupada talks about sincerity. If you're sincere, Krishna within your heart will bless you and guide you. You think Krishna is absent? Krishna is omnipresent. Actually, Krishna is within every atom. He's between every atom. There's nowhere where Krishna is not present. But because of our insincerity, we're not able to experience him. So we have to pray for sincerity. My dear Lord, please bless me. I become completely pure in my heart. But no, all insincerity is completely kicked out, boot from my heart. We have a special mantra for getting rid of the insincerities. It goes like this. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. That cleans out all the crud, all that insincerity in the heart, so that gradually, we'll come to that point where we can see Krishna directly, face to face, eye to eye. Baba continues, so this sincere devotee engaged in Krishna consciousness cannot be without knowledge. The only qualification is that one carry out devotional service in full Krishna consciousness. So if we sincerely serve Krishna, Krishna will give us so much understanding and knowledge. Tesham, what is that in the verse? Tesham evanukam partam maham vijnanajam tamaha nashayami yatma bhavasto jnanadipena vasvata. So we're sincere, Krishna within the heart will enlighten us with transcendental knowledge. You don't have to be a learned scholar, a PhD, a Nobel laureate, or Harvard graduate or anything. Just be a sincere devotee, a simple, humble, sincere devotee. And Krishna within your heart will give you all knowledge and all understanding how to become perfect in your love with him, and how to share him with the suffering souls in this material world. And those two things go hand in hand. We actually pray every day in the Shinga prayers, Bahirna Sringa Hridayena Singa. Prabhupada has elaborated on these 4 words very nicely. It's quite an elaboration. Here's how Prabhupada gives the actual meaning of those 4 words, Bahirna Sringa Hridayena Singa, which is literally Nishringa shrinking on the outside and shrinking on the inside. What does that mean? To nishringatize one's inside and to shringatize one's outside. What does that actually mean? Prabhupada explains in this way: may Lord Nishringadev dwell within my heart, killing all of my bad propensities, so my mind becomes completely clean and I can bring peace to the entire world. So our sincerity is not only to awaken pure love of God within our heart, our sincerity is also to make a spiritual revolution on this planet right now. You see. Krishna Guru Lord Chaitanya has ordered us to become gurus, propagators of this science of bhakti to deliver the fallen souls of this world back to home, back to Godhead. So sincerity means the desire to be a pure devotee and a desire to make the whole world Krishna conscious. That's what it means to be sincere. So what about us poor souls who are still caught up in our sincerity, our laziness, our craziness, our false egos? What about us poor souls like me, are having so much difficulty to awaken our Krishna consciousness? How do we actually get rid of all this insincerity, become qualified to see Krishna, become qualified to turn world history right side up, you see? Just look at this COVID-19, you see? This is a karmic reaction for all the sinful activities that people are doing. They think that, well, by vaccinations, and now they're seeing that vaccinations aren't really going to solve the problem. You have to have a booster shot. And just see this material world is becoming more and more of a hell, you see, because we're not putting God in the center. We have to put Krishna back in the center, and then the whole world situation becomes very auspicious. We can make this planet Earth non-different from Goloka Vrindavan, you see, the whole planet. All we have to do is become very sincere about being pure devotees and about making this whole planet Krishna conscious as soon as possible. So you're practicing Krishna consciousness not only for your benefit, but it's for the benefit of all living entities throughout this entire material existence, actually. So save yourself and save the world. Both things are there, you see. Save yourself and save the world. So to be successful in those two things, to save ourselves and save the world, we have to have the utmost sincerity, utmost genuineness. We have to kick out all the dirt in our hearts, the lust, the anger, the greed, the madness, the illusion, the envy, all this horrible dirt that we've carried with us, birth after birth after birth after birth, the lower species, the middle species, the higher species, the plants, the germs, the worms, the demigods. We've been through all of it again and again and again and again and again. Panakpanashcharvatacharvananam. Again and again, chewing the chewed. Isn't it ridiculous how we continue to chew the chewed? There is no happiness in this material sense gratification, but still we think, well, maybe if I chew a little more, I'll get some happiness out of it. So we tried it during sex, and that wasn't fun. That didn't satisfy us. We tried to have power and prestige and wealth. We tried in so many ways, birth after birth after birth, to be happy as a demigod, as a millionaire, so many things, a pauper in the street. We've tried every single position. And this, even becoming a Brahma, you see, a non-devotee Brahma, we were, even in the previous lifetimes. We've tried everything to be happy except the real thing, which is Sarvadharman Pradityaja Ma Mekam Shadadam Vraja Ahang Tvang Sarvapapebhyo Mokshishami Ma Shuchaha. Give up all of your nonsense, you stupid rascal. Give up all your nonsense and fully surrender to me, Krishna says. I will deliver you from all of your insincerity, all your pop. So insincerity means sin, that's all. Insincerity means I try to enjoy separately from Krishna. Sincerity means not even the slightest tinge of a desire or a tendency to want to enjoy separately from Krishna. We have to understand the great value of fully absorbing ourselves in Krishna consciousness. The unlimited value of doing that. To understand that unlimited value. Material world is a very painful place. Very painful place, no doubt about it. Birth is painful, and then you get sick. That's painful. Old age is painful. Just like this body of mine, so many pains I'm having in my neck now. Even when I'm giving this talk, I'm experiencing pain, going through pains in my neck. So it's a very difficult situation being in this material world. And then finally death comes and crushes us. So we need to elevate our consciousness beyond these material bodies. We have to give up this identification. I'm a male, I'm a female, I'm Indian, I'm American, I'm white, I'm black. We got a human being. We got to kick out all this garbage from our heart. You see. Kick it out with boo. And come back to the spiritual platform. I have nothing to do with this material body. I'm simply the eternal servant of Krishna, Jivara Swarupahai, Krishna Nityadas. So we should stop cheating ourselves, devotees. Let's give up this foolishness we have of cheating ourselves, holding on to our insincerities, trying to be the lords of all we survey. It's time we kick it out. We're just punishing ourselves unnecessarily. Why should we continue punishing ourselves, causing ourselves to be miserable? Is there any good reason to do that? No good reason at all. Very foolish thing, you see. Very, very foolish thing. I see we have 41 people on. We want to get up to 41 million. You see. Our goal is to get the whole world tuned into Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada is the actual leader of the world. You see, we got people have to recognize that. That Prabhupada's teachings are the guiding principle for the entire human society. Every government should be taking Prabhupada's books as the guiding principle. The Indian government, the US government, the British government, the French government, the German government, every country on this planet should base their countries on Prabhupada's books. You can see what kind of work we have ahead of ourselves, you see. To make Prabhupada's books the preeminent knowledge taught in every school. Every kid goes to school, he hears Krishna book, you see. Every first grader, every kindergartner, you see. He hears a Krishna book. And they little children memorize verses, you see. And they chant the verses every day, you know. Ishvaraha Paramaha Krishnaha Satchidananda Vigraha Anadir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam Chintamani, like that, you see. That should be in every school. Every little child should learn the Govinda prayers by heart, be able to chant it by heart every day. Every child, you see. This is the kind of education we need on this planet. We have to bring Krishna back to the center in every single sphere of activity. We have to close these nonsense slaughterhouses, especially the cow killing. If they want to eat animals, let them eat some other lower animals, but not the cow, you see. We must shut these cows, we must put a stop to this cow killing. It's a horrible thing. Can you imagine how ridiculous and how selfish and how greedy and how cruel these people are? You see, they're nourished on cow. After they finish drinking their mother's milk, breast milk, they take the breast milk from the cow to nourish themselves, become strong and healthy. And then and they enjoy in so many ways: the yogurt, the cheese, the ice cream, you know, so many things they enjoy from the cow. And how in the world they can turn around and kill this beautiful, loving creature who does nothing but chew some grass that they can't eat, who doesn't attack anybody, doesn't bite anyone. Can you imagine how cruel and how demoniac our modern day civilization is with all these slaughterhouses everywhere? It's shocking how demoniac they have become, how totally demoniac. Their own mother, they're killing their own mother and eating their own mother's flesh. Can you imagine how demoniac these people are? And these are the leaders of the world. Just see what kind of a job we have ahead of ourselves. These are the leaders of the world right now. So we have to become very pure and very much empowered, because otherwise how will we be successful in changing, in following Prabhupada's order to deliver the world? We have to become very, very pure devotees, with absolute sincerity. No insincerities left in our hearts. Absolutely pure. Prabhupada very wonderfully states in his purport that if one chants the holy name of the Lord with full sincerity, completely free from all offenses, then he becomes Jagat Guru. Under his influence, the whole world takes up Krishna consciousness. So just imagine you have the potential in your own bead bag of making the whole world Krishna conscious. Can you imagine that? You have the potential in your bead bag of making the whole world Krishna conscious. If we simply, here we are, we're offensive chanters falling asleep during a japa, our mind's going here and there, you see. So many offenses we commit, nama-parads. So sincerity means we have to kick all these nama-parads out. No more nama-parads, you see. Now, pure chanting. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. No business is set to go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into the holy names. Because why? That's Krishna himself. Can you just imagine if you could actually go to the spiritual world and embrace Krishna and have him embrace you back? A tight hug with Krishna? Or of course, that's fraternal mood. Or putting your head at Krishna's lotus feet. You see? Can you imagine being in such an intimate connection with Krishna? Well, that's we have that facility right there in the Hare Krishna mantra. We can be packed up tightly with Krishna. It's simply a matter of how we chant the japa, you see. It's simply a matter of how we absorb ourselves in Krishna's names. So this process is simple for the simple and difficult for the crooked. The difficulty is we're crooked. That's why we have so many difficulties. It's our cheating mentality, isn't it? Am I right or wrong? What do you think, Ambika? Am I right or wrong? Isn't it our cheating mentality that makes it difficult? It's our cheating mentality that makes it difficult.
Thank you, dear Gurudev. I think you are very right. And I will have questions about this as well. Thank you.
I'll be happy to answer questions now. We're about halfway through the little seminar here. Any questions? Anybody thinks I'm off the track and they want to correct me? We can talk about it. If you think I'm saying something incorrect, you can point it out to me and we'll analyze whether you're right or wrong. Any questions? Here's a hand up. There's another hand up. But I don't use Zoom. Oh, there's so many questions. So let me just try clicking on this. And I'm not, okay, let's see if this works. How do you recognize the question? I click on it?
Gurudev, you can just say the name and then we will
okay.
react.
Let's say Anarpita Kripamaya Das. Let me see what he has to say.
Hare Krishna, Janat Maharaj. Ambika Mataji has raised her hand before me, so she may ask because she asked question first.
You're unmuted, so speak. Go ahead and speak. You're unmuted now. Go for it. Let's hear it.
Okay. My question is this: we try to become sincere. We have this desire, so we practice, but because I don't know how long I have done this crookedness, this false identification. So I get fail again and again. I practice. I try to observe that where I'm getting fail. So sometime I catch and sometime I fail. When I fail, sometime I realize I failed. But sometime my mind says, give some excuse. Oh, it's okay. Nothing. Don't worry. So I feel that helpless there. So how this insincerity will go away, Maharaj?
You have to base your decisions on Shastra. Don't go by your mental whims. You have to base the teachings of Krishna should be the foundation for what's right. What am I doing the right thing or the wrong thing? You have to leave that up to Krishna to say in the Bhagavad Gita, but you're acting correctly or incorrectly. Always defer to Krishna's judgment, not your own opinion. Okay. Take Krishna's judgment, not your own opinion.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much.
Done. So let's see, I see here, Costa Rica Devidasi.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Prabhupada, all glories to. I have a question. Many times we want to be sincere. I have the similar lines as what the previous devotee asked. And it is so hard to get out of this bodily concept. You know, I keep thinking every day I have to do the things which is good for my soul, not for my body or mind. But again, I fall back and I get back into this bodily concept. And it's not so easy, although we know that we are not the body or we are not the soul. So what is the practical tips you can suggest us that we can endeavor in this way?
Yeah, it's difficult. It's very difficult. Just like even as I'm speaking, I'm having bad pain here in my neck. So I know what you're talking about. It's very difficult to get this bodily concept. The thing is, deal with your body in such a way, feed it properly, give it proper rest, proper medical care. So it's less and less of a distraction. Give the body what it needs and get it done. See, if the body needs extra rest, take the extra rest. Don't neglect it. You can give the body what it needs, not what it grieves, but what it needs. You see, it's like some householders, they engage in sex life freely, but that's greed. That's not need. One should sex life should be only used for procreation. Prabhupada said once when you want to have a child, you get the blessings of the spiritual master, the permission of the spiritual master. And on this 4 to 6 days after the menstrual cycle, the husband and wife both chant at least 50 rounds of japa. You see, that's for trying to get an auspicious child to take birth. But other than that, there's no need for sex. You see, this is one problem. Householders are engaging in sex life unnecessarily, and that's greed. That's not need, and that greediness keeps them in the bodily concept. So we're reminding all of our householder devotees to practice brahmachari. Unless you're wanting to have a child and you have the blessings and permission of the spiritual master, practice brahmachari life. Husband and wife, 2 brahmacharis, brahmachari, brahmacharini. You see, in that way it helps you get out of the bodily concept. Okay. Let's see here. We have more hands going up here. Let's see. We have Q6 Ben. Q6 Ben, your hand is up. You have something to say?
Hare Krishna, dear Gurudev. Q6 Ben wrote to me a direct message on this chat box that Krishna conscious philosophy is the best, but at a certain point it should concrete. Is this true or effective? Or it just remains in a subjective platform?
It just remains on a subjective platform. Actually, it's not relative, it's absolute. One has to understand this is coming from God himself. It's absolute knowledge. It's not just my opinion. Opinions change. You said today I have this opinion, tomorrow I have that opinion. So Krishna Ganja is not some subjective thing. It's based on one's opinion. It's an absolute knowledge which is true in all times, all places and circumstances, no matter what my opinion may be. Anything else? What does everybody think? Everybody, you think I'm speaking nicely, or you think I'm off the wall, off the track? What's the opinions? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We have to take this mantra very seriously because it will liberate us from all the distresses of material existence. It will bring us back to our eternal identities, the servants of the Lord. We have to become very, very determined. It's like a little sparrow, you see. She was very, very determined. The ocean took her eggs away and she told the ocean to return the eggs. The ocean refused. That little sparrow was so determined that I'm going to dry up that ocean and get my eggs back. And she was going down one drop at a time, bringing it from the ocean back to the dry land, 2 or 3 drops maybe in her little beak. Everybody was laughing. Oh, just see the foolish determination of little sparrow. She'll run herself to death. She'll never get her eggs back. But then one big brother of hers, Garuda, the king of the birds, saw the difficulty his little sister was going through. So he came swooping in and he told that ocean, you return those eggs immediately or I dry you up under mystic power. So even though it seems difficult sometimes for us to master this process of Krishna consciousness, it seems beyond our ability to actually bring our senses under control. We have to remember the determination of little sparrow. Just never give up. Just keep trying and trying and trying and trying and trying. Right now I have so many insincerities in my heart. I'm lusty, I'm greedy, I'm angry, I'm lazy, I'm crazy, I have all this, I'm stupid, I have all these difficulties here, just standing in the way of my spiritual progress. It seems impossible, better just to give it up and go back to being a sense gratifier. No, you see. Be determined to, I am going to become a pure devotee. I am going to become an empowered Vaishnava who can spread Krishna consciousness movement. I am going to do it. I am going to do it. I am going to do it. Be determined, just that sparrow, just keep pushing. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Why stop at 16? We can do 32 rounds sometimes, you see. Just keep pushing. I must become the pure devotee. I must get out of Maya. I must become qualified to see Krishna face to face. I must become empowered to carry out Lord Chaitanya's order to make the world Krishna conscious. Prabhupada told us, deliver the world. He said, become perfect in understanding the science of Krishna, become guru and deliver the world. That's the order he gave us. Prabhupada said, deliver the world. So wow, Prabhupada told me to deliver the world. That's what he told me to do along with the other devotees. We're supposed to deliver the world. Well, that's not my responsibility. That's the GBC or the sannyasis. No, that order is on the head of every one of us. You see? Just as Lord Chaitanya, Jari Te Katahika is on everyone's head, not just the GBCs and the sannyasis and the temple presidents and the Prabhupada disciples or whatever. The order of Prabhupada to deliver the world is on every one of our heads. Each one of us has a duty to deliver the world, you see. So we have to really strive like anything to awaken our Krishna consciousness, to get out of all this modes of nature right now we're going through, all this, all the hell we're going through, the adi-atmic, adi-bodhic, adi-naivic miseries. You just got to keep pushing through the miseries. Okay, it's a miserable situation being here in the material world. What can I do? I just got to push on the Krishna consciousness movement. You see. Do everything I can to push for this movement in all times, places, and circumstances within my heart, my dealings with others, my dealings with the whole world around me. I do everything I can to establish Krishna at the center, you see. Ishavashamidam sarvam, yat kim char jagadam jagat, tena jaktena bunjata magrita kashasviddanam. Everything animate or inanimate that is in the universe is controlled and owned by the Lord. Therefore, one should accept only those things necessary for himself, should set aside as his quota, knowing well to whom everything belongs. We have to take this process very, very seriously now. Not be carried away by the laziness and the craziness. We have to become very, very serious. I must awaken pure love of God within my heart. Must become qualified to see Krishna face to face. Must be qualified to awaken the souls of this world who are suffering unnecessarily in bodily consciousness. You see, it's really a great shame. They've evolved all the way through 8 million different species. They finally got the human form, you see. And how many of the human civilization, after going through 8 million births to get a human body, what is the percentage of them on this planet right now who are actually taking advantage of their human form to become self-realized? The Tato Brahma Jigyasa is practically nil. I mean, it's 0.0000001%. The number of people who are actually taking advantage of their human form, that means 0.9999999%. Or not 0.9, but 9999 without the point. 9999999.9999999% are spoiling their human life, you see, in sense gratification. That's why Lord Chaitanya is calling Jeev Jago, Jeev Jago, Gora Chandra Bole, Kotan Nija Jao Mai. Wake up, you sleeping souls. How long will you sleep in the lap of the witch named Maya? So that's what's happening. It's a great tragedy and great pity, you see. This whole planet is a big, big disaster area, actually. Horrible disaster area. Even it may appear to be very nice, skyscraper buildings, 747 airplanes, it may appear to be very, actually it's a disaster area. They built up this whole civilization on petroleum, which is running out. Within 100 years, there'll be no petroleum left, then what are they gonna do, you see? No more airplanes. What are they gonna do? Maybe a little nuclear, and this whole civilization is built up on an artificial position of petroleum, which is running out. You see? Even this whole thing is going to keep the whole material civilization, highly evolved with all these, power plants and all the whole thing can come crashing down. We're back in the jungle again. You see, it's like cannibals in the jungle. It can come to that. It will come to that point eventually at the end of Kali Yuga. So we have a special facility right now. There's a 10,000-year period. It's called the Chaitanya era. It began with the advent of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu about 500 years ago. This Chaitanya era is a 10,000-year period in which gradually the whole world will become Krishna conscious and then gradually to taper off again into full-fledged Kali Yuga. So right now we're in the most exciting moment in history. Lord Chaitanya's movement was in a seed-like form for 5 centuries until one very powerful Vaishnava Acharya, His Divine Grace Om Vishnu Pad Paramahamsa Parivajakacharya Astatara Sadashishi Madesi Bhakti Vedanta Tridandi Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada, one very, very, very dear son of Krishna, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, a highly empowered Vaishnava, you see, who has the power to live with the whole universe, Jagat Guru. And Krishna sent him here to write these books and to start this International Society for Krishna Consciousness. And we are the most fortunate people who have come in contact with Prabhupada's books, Prabhupada's movement. Here we are in ISKCON, the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada with his knowledge, his teachings. Now we have to fully embrace these teachings and with absolute total conviction. Kick out all the doubts with boo. If you have any doubts, kick them out with boo. If there's a doubt, inquire. You should. This is how I was trained up by Vishnu Jan Swami, and Prabhupada told me, he said, you have been trained up under the expert guidance of His Holiness Vishnu Jana Maharaj. Vishnu Jana Maharaj said you should continue to inquire and inquire until all your doubts are removed. And then one time I asked him a question, he said, well, I don't know, why don't you write Prabhupada? He said, so in the old days, if we had a doubt, our temple president or the sannyasi couldn't answer, we'd write Prabhupada. Can you imagine? If you have a doubt, you can write Prabhupada a letter and he'll write you back. That's how it was when I joined. You could write Prabhupada a letter and he'd write you back. Wow. He'd answer your question directly. And then I remember there was a new policy because there was so many letters coming to Prabhupada. The movement was growing. So Prabhupada said, now only the temple presidents and the Nazis and GBC should write, nobody else. But I was desperate. I had a question and I was desperate. I have to I needed to hear from Prabhupada. I really need to. So I took a chance. I violated the policy and I wrote Prabhupada a letter. And you know what happened? Prabhupada gave me an exemption to the policy. He said, he told me about the policy, but then he said, but if there's any urgent matter, I'm always happy to hear from my beloved disciples. So I had a concession from Prabhupada. If I had an urgent need, I could write him. In spite of the policy against devotees writing Prabhupada, he personally told me I could write him. You see. So I did until I no longer felt the urgent need. So this is the kindness of the spiritual master, the kindness of the preachers, you see. They're willing to go out of their way to help those who are struggling and in their endeavor to awaken their Krishna consciousness. So we should take advantage of these kind-hearted Vaishnavas who are willing to take the time and trouble to train us and guide us how we can get rid of our lust, our anger, our greed, our madness, illusion, and envy, and actually enter into pure devotional service. You see, you are meant to be a pure devotee of Krishna. We are all meant to be pure devotees of Krishna. We're not meant to remain in this marginal platform, between Maya and Krishna. We're all meant to become pure devotees of Krishna. You see, we're all meant to become completely free from the tinges of the influence of the material nature. We're meant that my every thought, my every word, my every deed, in all times, places, and circumstances should be absolutely pure. We are meant to be pure devotees, not mixed devotees, but pure devotees. Right now, we're mixed. We have to get rid of that mix of impurity, that mix of sincerity, insincerity within my heart, and become absolutely pure devotees with nothing but sincerity there, you see. That's what we have to endeavor to do personally. That's what we have to endeavor to train the other devotees to do, to encourage them and help them in a mood of loving service, not a one-upmanship mood, but a mood of loving service, to help all the devotees come to this platform of pure devotional service. And then we can actually, when we can do that, and in our movement, our devotees can give up this sense gratification consciousness, a little Krishna, a little Maya. You see, when our devotees can give up this sense gratification consciousness, then we can actually capture the whole world. The whole world will come to us. Please guide us how to run our countries. Please guide us how to run our universities. Please guide us how our entertainment industry should be going on. Our food industry should be going on. We should be so sincere in our following of Prabhupada's teachings that the whole world is coming to us and asking us how they can structure all the aspects of society in such a way that everybody on this planet will go back to home, back to Godhead. So, anything else? I can end a little early here. It's 10 o'clock at night here, and I get up at 2 in the morning. So, I don't,
Hare Krishna Maharaj, may I ask one more question?
Okay, question, I'm ready.
Maharaj, suppose we try to practice our action according to the scripture. We see that every time the knowledge is not on front. Sometimes it keeps on back, and idea of the mind comes always on the front. On some points, it's knowledge comes on front, so we just conquer. When the knowledge is always on the back, we just lose the battle. So how always keep the knowledge on front?
The way to keep it's called Shastra Chaksus. Anarpita Krivamai Das Shastra Chaksus. If your eyes are bad, you wear glasses, isn't it? You always look through your glasses so you can see things clearly. So our spiritual eyes are very bad. That's why we have scripture. You have to always see through the eyes of scripture. That's the key. Always see through the eyes of scripture. You should be reading all of Prabhupada's books. Read all the books. What book are you reading right now? You see, I'm reading the Nectar Devotion right now. Every day I read the Nectar Devotion. So every devotee should be reading all through all of Prabhupada's books again and again throughout the whole life, you see. And that by reading the books, that way you're directly connecting with Prabhupada. Prabhupada is blessing you with transcendental knowledge. So every devotee of ISKCON should be reading from Prabhupada's books, not just in the classes, but on their own. When they have a spare minute, read a page or two, read a purport. Everyone should be reading these books, and you can hear Prabhupada's lectures also. The recordings are there. I go on a morning walk every day. I hear Prabhupada lectures on Bhagavatam. This is how I feel connected with my spiritual master, you see. So in this way, we should hear lectures from Prabhupada's recording, read his books. And this way we can see clearly through the eyes of the scripture and not be bewildered by the influence of the material nature. Okay? You ready to do that? You committed now in that particular way?
Thank you so
You got to
much,
become
Maharaj.
always see through the eyes of scripture and kick out your mental concoctions. Kick them out with boot right now, okay?
Maharaj, please bless me also so I can follow these.
I just did. My instruction is a blessing. You just had to follow my instruction. That's all.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. Thank you so much.
Anything else?
Thank you.
There's nothing else. We can end a little early here so I can get a little more sleep before I get up at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. I
Hare
think
Krishna.
Ananda Vardhana Prabhu has his hand raised up. Sorry.
Okay.
Hare Krishna, Sri Gurudev, can you please accept my humble obeisances, August
Hare
Sri Prabhupada. Sri Gurudev, for the sincerity, in the beginning, it's very simple and straightforward. But then as we progress, it appears that sincerity, the level of sincerity required goes up and up and up, and then it's very easy to fall down. So how to remain determined to progress on that level, high level up?
Remember Siksha Guru, the little sparrow. You should be determined to become Krishna's pure devotee and here's an insider secret, Ananda Vardhana. Krishna never gives you something that's beyond your ability to handle. Krishna is orchestrating, he's arranging everything for you perfectly at every minute to facilitate your steady spiritual advancement. You just have to see everything that comes to you as a blessing from Krishna. That's the key. Everything that comes at every minute, it's all Krishna's arrangement to facilitate your coming to pure devotional service as soon as possible. You keep that vision, even things go wrong, then you'll see, well, this bodily pain I have is a special blessing from Krishna. Or my computer crashed today, it's a special. You have to see everything as Krishna's special blessing to help you come to the point where you realize you have no shelter except for Radha and Krishna. You keep that vision, you'll be okay in every situation, okay?
Yes, Shri Gurudev. Thank you very much. August.
Hare
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Anything else? Ambika Devi Dasi?
Okay, thank you. Actually, Hare Krishna Das is writing in the chat box that, wait a minute. Srila Gurudev, kindly enlighten. Sometimes I feel I am sincere to achieve pure devotion, but most of the time, I'm practically sincere on this goal. There are a lot of insincerity. How can I completely vanish this insincerity in my heart?
By maintaining that desire 24/7. The more you see your insincerities, the more your sincerity becomes manifest. So it's very good you're seeing your insincerities. That means your sincerity is becoming more and more manifest. The more you're aware of your insincerities, the more you become sincere. Just like we see so many examples. Gopinath, Mamani Vedana Shuno, Vishai Durjana, Sada Kamarata Kichunahi Moraguna. My dear Gopinath, I'm a materialistic rascal. I'm always full of lust. I have no good qualities. Bhakti-Vinod is praying. So the more you can see your insincerities, that is your sincerity becoming more and more manifest.
Then Purna Pragya Keshava Prabhu also has his hand raised up.
Okay.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Please accept my
Hare
humble
Krishna.
obeisances. Please accept my humble obeisances.
Blessings.
Maharaj, to train the mind internally, it's the pattern of thinking and the behavior pattern seems to be the same, even though I endeavor it. For example, while chanting, even though I try it, simultaneously chanting is going on, and other distractions like discussions which I had with some other person, why, what, when, how, all the debates are going within the mind, Maharaj. Still I endeavor. My intent is good, but still I felt that this is not the right chanting. I am not able to focus even though I endeavor.
What time of the day do you do your chanting?
Some morning when I wake up, immediately I start my rounds, and when
What time you get up? What time do you get up?
Some 3:30. Then if I 3 to 3:30.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good.
But
Yeah,
when I feel so much disturbed, then I go to sleep, Maharaj.
No, that's even worse. Better to chant halfway conscious japa than to go to sleep. Go completely into Maya then. The thing is, you just beg Krishna, my dear Krishna, you could talk to Krishna about it. He's present. He's right there in the room with you. You say, Krishna, I'm trying to absorb myself in your name. My mind is such a damn rascal that's running here and there. Please, my dear Lord, help me bring my mind under control. Yato nishchalati manlashan shalamastaram tatashtatonayam yatat atmanyam. Krishna says, from whatever and wherever your mind wanders, due to its flickering, unsteady nature, one must certainly withdraw it and bring it back under the control of the self. So Krishna, I'm going through hell right now, trying to fix my mind on you, but please, Krishna, help me chant your name with full absorption. So just talk to Krishna about it. He's right there. He can hear you. Ask us for help. He'd love to help you chant good rounds. Just ask him to help you.
Okay, Maharaj, I seek your blessings too.
All right.
So yeah, I'll try, Maharaj.
Do that. It really works. Krishna is real. You know, he's not a myth. Do you know that? Krishna is real. He's not a myth. Krishna is right there. He'll help you. So,
thank you,
10
Maharaj.
o'clock.
Thank you, Maharaj.
We have to wind it down here. It's 10 o'clock. Time me to take rest. So I thank everybody for tuning in. Thank you for inviting me to come to this. It's been a nice opportunity. We're having part 2 in a few days. And so everyone stay tuned. We'll have part 2. How to become totally absorbed in absolute perfect sincerity. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama.
Thank you, Sankarshan Prabhu,
Thank you so much, Maharaj.
for this beautiful presentation on sincerity. We will see you on Friday. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.